The hospital room was quiet, except for the rhythmic beeping of the monitor and the slow whisper of oxygen. Outside the window, the city lights flickered like scattered memories, bright, distant, untouchable. Amna lay on the bed, her frail hands resting on a faded woolen shawl she had knitted years ago. The same shawl her son, Adil, once wrapped around himself during winter mornings before rushing to school. That image still lived inside her, the little boy with uncombed hair, holding her hand tightly as if she were his entire world. Now, that world had changed. The nurse entered quietly, adjusting the IV line. "You need rest, Mrs. Amna," she said gently. Amna smiled faintly. Rest? Yes, maybe. Her voice trembled, soft but still filled with dignity. As the nurse left, Amna reached for the old envelope on the bedside table. It was addressed in her careful handwriting. "To my children, Adil and Sarah." She ran her fingers over the letters as if touching their faces through the ink. It had been 3 years since she had last seen either of them. Adil had moved abroad, chasing a life of ambition and distance. Sarah, her daughter, had married a man her mother never met, disappearing into another city with promises that faded like forgotten songs. Amna wasn't angry anymore, just empty. That evening, Dr. Farid came in. "Your tests came back," he said quietly. "We'll need to keep you under observation. I'll inform your family." Amna's lips curved slightly. "They won't come," she whispered. The doctor looked uncomfortable. "You should still try, madam. Maybe your daughter." Amna interrupted softly. "She doesn't even have my new number. I changed it when the call stopped coming." Dr. Farid paused. "Would you like me to reach out?" Amna shook her head. "No, some messages are not meant to be delivered by others." Her gaze drifted to the window. Outside, rain had begun to fall. Gentle, hesitant. The kind of rain that carries memories rather than storms. That evening, unable to sleep, she began writing in her small diary. Every word felt like a farewell. "My dear Adil, I know you think I never understood your dreams, but the truth is, I always did. I only feared that in chasing the world, you might lose yourself. If you ever come back to the house, the one with the neem tree and the broken balcony, you'll find a letter in the kitchen drawer. I left it there before I came here." She paused. Her hands trembled slightly, but she continued. "And to my Sarah, I know you left because you needed peace. I hope you found it, my child. Just remember, a mother's silence isn't anger. It's love waiting to be heard." Amna closed the diary and placed it beside the envelope. She stared at them for a long moment, then smiled through her tears. "Maybe they'll read it one day," she murmured. In another part of the city, Adil sat in his apartment surrounded by screens, deadlines, and noise. He scrolled past a notification from an unknown number. "Hospital update. Patient, Amna Siddiqui. Condition, critical." He froze. The name hit him like cold air. He wanted to call back, but pride, guilt, and time all stood in the way. "Maybe tomorrow," he whispered. But tomorrow had its own plans. The rain hadn't stopped since that evening. It lashed against the windows of Adil's luxury apartment, the city lights outside blurred by the downpour. He sat on the edge of his designer couch, phone in hand, screen glowing with one unread message. Mother admitted to City General Hospital, critical condition. He had seen the message 12 hours ago. He hadn't replied. He hadn't gone. There were 100 excuses, meetings, deadlines, the silent pressure of his wife's sharp eyes, but none of them could drown out the quiet voice that kept whispering in the back of his mind. You promised her you'd always come when she called. Adil rubbed his forehead, exhaling hard. The apartment smelled of perfume and money. Everything was clean, perfect, soulless. His wife, Sana, was getting ready in the bedroom, the sound of her heels clicking softly on the marble floor. You're still thinking about it? She said without looking up from the mirror. She's my mother, Sana. She's a woman who refused to move in with us. Don't guilt trip yourself. She didn't want to be a burden. She was a burden, Adele, Sana said, applying her lipstick with a steady hand. Always calling, always needing something. You think people like us can just drop everything for emotional drama? Adele didn't answer. He felt something in his chest tighten. Sana's words, polished and cold, struck like needles. He looked at the clock. 11:43 p.m. He should go. He knew that. But instead, he just sat there, the phone heavy in his hand. Outside, thunder rumbled. The rain grew louder. In another part of the city, a hospital room flickered with fluorescent light. Machines beeped softly. On the bed lay Mrs. Nazreen, her frail hands gripping the corner of a folded letter. Her breathing was shallow, her eyes half open, fixed on the door. Her daughter, Sarah, sat beside her, a blanket over her shoulders. She hadn't left her mother's side in 2 days. Every time the door opened, she looked up, hoping it was Adil. Every time, disappointment sank deeper. Ummi, please rest, she whispered. Nazreen shook her head slowly. He'll come, Bitha. He always comes. Sarah blinked back tears. Ummi, you have to stop waiting. You're tired. But her mother shook her head slowly. A son never forgets his mother. Sarah turned away, her throat burning. She wanted to scream. He already has, Ummi. But she couldn't. Not now. Not while her mother's frail hope was the only thing keeping her alive. The nurse entered quietly, adjusting the IV line. She needs rest, she said softly to Sarah. And you, child, you need it too. Sarah nodded, though she didn't move. She reached for the phone on the side table and called again. Adele's number. Ring. 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 Then voicemail. Her voice cracked as she left the message. Adele, it's Sarah. Ummi keeps asking for you. Please, just come, before it's too late. Morning came like a stranger. Adil woke up to the faint light of dawn and the sound of rain finally stopping. He turned his phone over, squinting at the screen. 10 missed calls. 3 new messages. The last one read, Adil Bhai, Ummi is gone. The world seemed to tilt. He sat frozen, the phone trembling in his hand. His throat closed up, words he'd never said clawing at his chest. Senna walked out of the bathroom, towel around her hair. "You look pale. What's wrong?" He couldn't speak. He just handed her the phone. She read it, her expression flat. "Oh, I'm sorry." And then, after a pause, "There's no point going now." That was the moment something inside him broke. The carefully built walls of pride, success, and comfort, all of it collapsed in one shattering silence. Adil stood, grabbed his car keys, and left. He drove through the quiet city streets, through puddles and mist until he reached the hospital. He ran through the corridor, heart pounding, breath sharp. When he reached room 304, the bed was empty. Sarah sat by the window, her face pale and drained, holding a white cloth in her lap. She looked up at him, eyes hollow. "You came," she said quietly. "Finally." Adil's lips trembled. "Sarah, She kept asking for you. Right until the end. She kept saying, 'Tell my son I'm not angry.'" Adil fell to his knees beside the bed, his tears falling onto the cold floor tiles. He reached for the pillow, for the place where his mother's head had lain just hours ago, and whispered, "I'm sorry, Ummi. I'm so sorry." Sarah placed a trembling hand on his shoulder. "Sorry doesn't wake the dead, Adil." Outside, the rain began again. Soft at first, then heavier, until it drowned the sounds of everything else.